All right, guys, back in the car. Pretty excited about today. So we've got a little special treat. I am recording the entire video today. It's just gonna be a driving video. It's supposed to be kind of fun. We're gonna do the whole video with one of the Insta360 360 degree cameras. And I'm actually gonna mount the camera, thus putting you guys on top of the car. So I think it'll be pretty sweet and pretty fun. I've never had the perspective of riding on top of a Tesla before, so I think it might be pretty cool. So the route I planned was to go from the West Loop in Chicago all the way through the Loop out to Lakeshore Drive and then up to Wrigley, do a lap around Wrigley and come back. So it should be a pretty fun trip. I try to pick the time of day where there's not gonna be too much traffic out there, but you'll be able to see Chicago in all of its glory. We've got another great sunshiny day here. This time of year they start getting more and more rare. Also, the Cubs, they aren't doing so well. That's kind of the reason for our trek to Wrigley. Maybe we can bring them some luck. Playoffs are coming up. I don't know if they're gonna make it or not. So they keep trying though, and we're always rooting them on. So gotta love the Cubbies. All right, I'm ready to go if you guys are. I've got a full state of charge, half a cup of coffee. I'm wearing dark sunglasses, and it's a beautiful day in Chicago. That's a Blues Brothers reference if you guys didn't get it, but check that movie out sometime. It's pretty sweet. So I'm gonna put you on top of the car now. The only thing I'm nervous about is this camera taking a dive somewhere on Lakeshore Drive. So fingers crossed, the power of the suction gods and the power of a clean roof, I think we'll make it. All right, I'm gonna put you guys up there. All right, as we're driving along, I'm gonna narrate this thing. A lot of construction going on over here in the West Loop. It's a city on the grow, what can I say? So we're gonna take a right here on Monroe, the crazy dude in his scooter, guy with a dog. Always gotta be careful of pedestrians around here. West Loop's really changed. We opened up my office over here about 12 years ago. We had bars on the doors. It was kind of a shady area, and now it's just like all families and dogs and people carrying groceries and new condos going up. It's pretty wild. So I always think this is a pretty neat view coming back into the Loop. You can see Sears Tower right up in front of us, and it's a 360 degree video, so you guys can drive this thing around. It's kind of like choose your own adventure. So check out the people walking across the street. You might see a reflection in a window, who knows. Should be cool though. But right now we're crossing through Greektown, which is also part of West Loop, and going over one of the bridges. And this one is just a bridge over the Kennedy Expressway. You can check out how traffic's doing left and right. Usually pretty busy. All right. It might be a little bit of a drive to get through here out to Lakeshore. I was kind of hoping there'd be less people around, but that's all right. Get to see how great the Chicago drivers are. Spoiler alert, they suck. It's freaking terrible. I don't know if it's all the Ubers and Lyfts and cabs and tourists and what, but just crazy drivers. Hey look, you can see our reflection in the right. Looking good, guys. All right, coming up on Clinton Street. Got Union Station to the right. Union Station is one of the big train stations that comes into Chicago. The next street over to the left, which would be to the north, is Ogilvie Station. And it's the other big train station. If you're ever taking Amtrak though into the city, you're going to be coming into Union Station. All right, starting to get into the buildings a little bit and some skyline. Canal Street coming up that we're crossing over. And this is really cool, these old iron bridges. They're all movable bridges or drawbridges. So they go up, there's 18 of these through downtown. They're actually doing a bridge lift tomorrow in the morning, so traffic's gonna be absolutely insane. But you can look north and south here, up and down the Chicago River. See a tour boat down there to the left. So they're gonna be doing this bridge lift, and these teams of two, one guy or one team opens up one bridge, the team runs down to the next bridge and opens that one. They just kind of alternate back and forth, and it's to get all the boats from the lake that have the tall masts, like the sailboats and stuff, down to the safe protected areas and for storage during the winter. So the winters here are pretty brutal, not good on boat holes. All right, famous Wacker Drive right here. So this is Upper Wacker. If you turn left real quick right there, it puts you down on Lower Wacker. That's where they filmed. I think it was Batman Returns got filmed down there. It's always a super fun drive. It's dark and it's fast, and you kind of have to know where you're going, but it's still super fun. Yeah. Come on, people. So good thing I got the Performance Model 3, because my average miles per hour today is about 9 miles per hour. Maybe we'll get some speed up on Lakeshore. We'll see how the traffic is out there. Right now we're passing under one of the L tracks. It's the electric or elevated track in Chicago. This one runs all the way around the loop. We're gonna hit it again on the other side. It's really cool. You'll notice some of the architecture too. I feel like such a tour guide. I don't know. I love the city, so might as well tell you guys a little bit about it. But Chicago actually pretty much burnt to the ground in 1871 during the Great Chicago Fire. And then all these newer buildings came up after that. So late 1800s, early 1900s, all the way up through present day. And there's been all these different periods of building booms in Chicago. So you see all this amazing architecture. I consider it to be world-class architecture. You may argue with me, I don't know, but there are some amazing, amazing buildings here and tons of super famous architects that have designed and put up buildings in Chicago. So we've got a lot of Mies van der Rohe stuff here, Skidmore, Owings, and whatever. What else? Some very famous female architects here. Jeannie Gang. She's put up some incredible looking buildings here, like the Aqua, and they're kind of redefining the Chicago skyline and what Chicago architecture is. So it's really, really cool to see. Always exciting. Massive Chase Bank building on the left, formerly known as Bank One. Man, we really have a nice day. So Dearborn Street right here. If you go south, it takes you down to Printers Row and Dearborn Station, which is one of the old train stations in Chicago. Now it's just kind of a little bit of shopping, and that's just a fun neighborhood to go to. Like at one point, all the original print houses in the country for books, catalogs, all that kind of stuff were located in Printers Row. And now all those old printing buildings have been converted to condos. Also cool to see. Oh yeah, we've got the CIBC Theater just in front of us coming up. We're gonna pass it in a second. Man, maybe I should work on a tour bus. It's kind of fun. That's where Hamilton's playing in Chicago, and I think it's wrapping up here in December or January. So if you haven't seen it yet, see it. It's really amazing. We've been 3 times now. I love it each and every time. It looks like they're filming something out here too. Passing through State Street, that great street. That's where Marshall Fields was. It's now Macy's. Marshall Fields was way better. And you saw an L train go by right in front of us. On the right hand side, it's the Palmer House Hilton. They've got a really, really cool old restored lobby and bar in there. You may recognize this little streetscape on the left. This is where I filmed my delivery experience for my Tesla. That was a very happy day. Man, traffic is tight today. It's nice, so everybody's out walking around. It's only a Tuesday in the city, so it shouldn't be a ton of tourists, but kids are back in school. I don't know what these people are doing. Not working like me. University Club of Chicago on the left. Really cool Gothic architecture building. It was built in 1905. Then we're coming up, on my left is Millennium Park and the Crown Fountain, the spitters, so they spit water out of them. Right in front of us, the Art Institute of Chicago, and the bridge that goes from Millennium Park to the Modern Wing. The Modern Wing's the new part. Little hint, come in this entrance instead of the main entrance and you'll skip a long line. This arch on my right used to be part of the Chicago Stock Exchange Board, and when they got rid of that building, they brought parts of it here and they actually rebuilt part of the stock exchange inside of the Art Institute. Now we're kind of bordering, actually on 3 different parks. So we've got Millennium Park directly to my left, and then up in front on the left is Maggie Daley Park, and that's got awesome playground equipment for kids. And they've got a really cool, it's called a skating ribbon. So during the summer you can rollerblade on it, during the winter you can ice skate on it. If you bring your own skates, it's free. There's also a climbing wall there. If you bring your own ropes, that's free, I don't know. And then on the right hand side, coming up, this is Grant Park. So that's where they host Lollapalooza, all kinds of festivals during the summer. You might be able to see Buckingham Fountain. Yeah, Buckingham Fountain's going off on the right. That's really cool. Now we're gonna be heading out on Lakeshore Drive. Love it. God, we got such a good day for this. I'm really pumped. Thanks for coming along for the ride. If you're sticking in there so far. I might actually get up to a decent amount of speed on Lakeshore, we'll see. I was out here the other day and there was a guy in a all black Camaro. He had like an aftermarket exhaust on it and stuff. He kind of came roaring up right next to me. So I stepped on it and man, just left him in the dust. All right. Let's go, people. All right, we'll see how well this suction cup does. Woo! God, I love this car. So we're coming through to some of my favorite views in the city, actually. So we've got, is it Burnham Harbor down there to the right? DuSable Harbor? Yeah, I think it's DuSable. On the far right, you see the Ferris wheel. That's where Navy Pier is. My favorite view is to the left. Just how you kind of go through all these buildings here, and you can see them. Chicago River's right below us as we're going over this bridge. The locks are to the right, which takes you from the Chicago River out to Lake Michigan. Oh man, this is such a beautiful city. Up here we've got a path that actually runs the length of Lakeshore Drive, which is about 20 miles in total. And running, biking, walking, whatever, very active. To the right's Lake Michigan, and where those boats are parked, that's called the Playpen. It's pretty fun this summer, just tons of boats tie up out there, and it's just like a huge party scene. And the lake level's really high right now. You can kind of see it coming up over the sidewalk. I hope you can see it. You guys should be up high enough. On the left-hand side, you can see the John Hancock, the black tower with the 2 antennas on it. Some people do mistake that for Sears Tower, but that's totally different. They actually changed the name from John Hancock. They didn't want their name on it anymore, and now it's just called 175 Delaware, which is the address. But that's Streeterville to the left, and that's one of the most expensive neighborhoods in the city. Second only to Gold Coast, which is coming up on the left, which sometimes people refer to as Old Coast, because it's like a lot of old rich people live there. But it is gorgeous. Be a nice day for a bike ride on the lakefront. And here's the famous S curve. They're talking about actually straightening this out at some point. I don't know how the heck they're going to do it, but I kind of like it. Pass a bunch of people on it. It's one of the beaches. They just had a big national volleyball tournament up here with all the stands and everything going on. It was really, really cool. All right, let's get on it. And the lake is so calm today. There's a lot of times it just looks like an ocean out there. One of the big bendy buses. Learned that term bendy bus from some English friends of ours. And then North Avenue Beach, which is probably one of the more famous beaches in Chicago, is just to our right. Got some overpriced and overpacked bar there called Castaways, but still a great place to grab a drink in the summer if you're headed to the beach. Alright, looks like the camera's hanging on up there, thank God. Got Lincoln Park on the left, Lincoln Park Zoo. They do zoo lights around Christmas time. It's really cool. Lakeshore gets really, really backed up on Cubs game days and rush hour and stuff like that. So we're cruising up here at a pretty good time, right over lunch hour. I like driving up Lakeshore, as long as I'm not sitting in traffic. Super fun. Oh, got boxed in. Dang it. Riding their bikes, out running, getting all healthy before our long winter. Alright, we're taking this Belmont exit. Try and get up here ahead of this van. There we go. This is Belmont Harbor. This is one of my favorite harbors just because it's so close to the path. Getting to check out all the boats and stuff. A lot of these boats will be the ones going down the Chicago River when they do the bridge lift tomorrow. Alright, these overpasses are pretty neat. Most of them have public art like this. So this one under Belmont, they did some really cool mosaic work on it. I'm not sure who the artist is, but he did a really nice job. So there's Lakeshore Drive, and then there's Inner Lakeshore Drive. And we're going to be cruising up Inner Lakeshore, which is more like locals. And we'll probably hit a few stoplights and stuff like that along the way, but that's all right. This intersection, or actually the intersection right behind us, I got a red light ticket out once. Really made me mad. Red light tickets here. I think they're like 60 bucks. And then they also have speed camera tickets. Those are the worst because they're in zones where you slow down really fast. It'll be like a 20-mile-an-hour zone for schools or something like that, and that's $100, and you've really got to watch those. After a while you figure out where they're all at. But then architecture up here is really cool. So we're in the Lakeview neighborhood right now, and a lot of these older buildings along Lakeshore Drive, these were all pre-war buildings, so built before World War II, and just really, actually, yeah, before World War II. Really cool construction, really, really well built. They're amazing properties, huge square footages, really neat. And then you see these other buildings coming up that were done in the 50s and 60s, which stark contrast to those pre-war buildings. And then not much brand new construction up here. Most of that brand new stuff is going on further south or further west right now, because most of the areas over here have been all built out. All right. Wow. What's up? Public transit's really good here. It's all the bus lines, and with the L trains and the Metra, which is the kind of commuter light rail. It's amazing. It's such an easy city to get around in. If I didn't have to have a car for work, if I didn't have a Tesla, I would probably just try and do it all on public transportation. But I'd much rather be doing this. All right, we're turning left on Addison. So Wrigley Field is actually located on Addison. It's still about a mile away. So, and this is just a typical Chicago neighborhood. You can kind of see the apartments, the flats. There's brownstones and graystones. You know, just real neighborhoody. What I like about Chicago is all the different neighborhoods. There's 77 neighborhoods in total, and they all have their different personalities to them. So some are more family oriented, some are for, you know, college kids, some professionals, you know, where it's like more artsy and nice restaurants and stuff like that. But they all have different personalities. Some are kind of gritty and more urban. Something for everybody here. So another L track coming up right in front of us. So that's the red line. That's usually how I get up here to Cubs games. Just hop on the train from downtown and it brings me straight up. Hop off at Addison and I'm there at Wrigley Field. This would also be a pretty fun neighborhood to live in if I was like 20 years younger. It's still cool though. And it's getting better. The Ricketts family bought the Cubs a few years back, and they've just done wonders to this area. So there's always new construction going on in the off season. So this is where the L train lets out. You can buy a bunch of scalper tickets right around here on game day. And this is the friendly confines of Wrigley Field, home of the Chicago Cubs. It is probably one of the finest, if not the finest, baseball stadium in the world. Very historic. It just has a great feel to it. Some people say, hey, it's more of a bar than baseball. I cannot argue with that, but it's just a bunch of good-natured fans having a good time on a sunny day. And man, you can't beat that. It's amazing. Family friendly, of course. They just opened up this new area. There's a official marquee back there that we just passed. But this whole family area with the big screen, and they're just doing stuff here all the time. Big Star for Tacos on the left. It's one of my favorites. We just saw Nick Offerman here from Parks and Rec fame. He was hanging out at Madden's for the game a week ago that we went to. It's cool to see him. He's got a crazy beard now. And then he sang the 7th inning stretch with his wife. So we're coming around to the back side of Wrigley right now. On game days, this is all blocked off and you can't drive back here. But it's really super cool. You can see the scoreboard up there right in front of us. And coming to see a game in the summer and sitting back here in the bleachers, I don't think there's a finer day you can have. It's such a blast. And then we're coming around. There's Harry Carey. So he's a famous Cubs announcer. People get their pictures taken with that statue all the time. He's really great. Look him up on YouTube. The guy's hilarious. And he is just a Cubs icon and a Chicago icon. All right, I'm gonna pull up, I think on the side up here, take you guys off the top of the car and kind of wrap this thing up. But Murphy's Bleachers, that's a really cool bar. If you're ever up here for a game, it's totally worth going to Murphy's and having a drink before or after. One of our friends calls those traffic thinners, the after game drinks. So you kind of go up there and just have a drink while all the traffic kind of dissipates, and then you can get home a little quicker. Anyways, well, I hope you guys enjoyed the trek. I think it was pretty fun. Perfect day for a drive. I always love any excuse to get out and drive this car, and you guys give me a lot of great excuses to do it. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm gonna grab this thing off the top of the car while this light's red. All right, made it during the light. All right, guys, I'm gonna sign off. I will talk to you soon.